We're
Let's
back.
go, guys. World of matchups. Week 1 in the National Football League. Las Vegas, Nevada, coming to you live and direct from Kansas City. On the other side of my A1 from day one, Mr. Spencer the Wiz. Let's go, baby. What's up, bro?
We're so back. Football is amazing. It's the best sport in the world. And the last 2 days have been a reminder why.
I'm so pumped, dude. I cannot believe we finally made it. So gonna do this year, guys. Just like every year, we are gonna bring the heat to you. Me and Spencer are gonna break down Sunday, Monday, in all its splendor against the spread here of what I'm doing and what Spencer's doing, plus best bets. And hopefully, you guys are ready to make some money and rock the house with this. Spencer, let it rip. What do we?
Yeah, so first game on the slate, and I will pull up the odds in just a second, is the Colts and Texans. So this is a very interesting game. This game is gonna determine how much I'm right or wrong about my predictions in the offseason because I'm not a huge on the Colts this year, and a lot of people think that they are going to be right there as like one of the most competitive teams in the National Football League. But I think the Texans are a much, much better team. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Texans are like 6-point favorites, but I will check. But in any case, I think the Texans blow them out of the water. I know the Colts are at home. I know they play really good at home too, but at the end of the day, for me, I think this is a team that is trying to go to as far as an AFC championship game. And I don't see the Colts. I see them fighting for a playoff spot. Now it's week 1. It's all chaos in week 1, but I think they're going to come out much more prepared. I could see Anthony Richardson making some very bad mistakes on here. So I am all over the Texans in this game.
I like it. I'm all over the Texans too. It's the spread is from Vegas, Texas. They're on the road. They're going to Lucas Oil Stadium and taking on the Colts. I have not been enamored by Anthony Richardson's throwing ability like a lot of people legs, but at the end of the day, you know how I feel. It is throw for dough, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Michael Pittman is not much of really have to rely on Jonathan Taylor in this game. Conversely, the Houston Texans have really had a great offseason. They bring in Danielle Hunter, they bring in Joe Mixon, they bring in Stephon Diggs, contract still, CJ Stroud. I like D'Amico Ryans. I like the way this program is headed. And if they are serious about being tenders, this is a road game that they'll have to win. I do believe that good teams win, great teams cover. And I think the Houston Texans are on their way to being a great. I think people are really undervaluing bringing Stephon Diggs in. I know that he had a lousy last, couple games to end the season. On the other side, don't forget about Dalton Schultz and Joe Mixon's 100% going into this game. 3 is not enough. I love the Texans to win, and I love them to win big.
Yeah, let's jump over to the Jaguars and Dolphins. This is week 1 is tough. Like going down the slate, like had a hard time like coming up with my 3 favorite games of the week, and this is definitely not on my list. Miami's at home, so I think they should just kind of run away with this one. Everyone seems to be so high in the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of pressure on them. I know Trevor Lawrence just got paid, but we've already talked about this. There is pressure on this guy to have the best year of his career because it has not been great so far. Plain and simple. Like you can say whatever you want, but his stats are comparable to Gardner Minshew. That's always been like the big story of this offseason. So if they are a changed team, they'll compete in this game. But man, the Dolphins are just so hard to beat in the beginning of the season, especially in Miami. It just feels like it's going to be too overwhelming for them. They're not going to be able to keep up scoring wise. So I'm leaning towards the Dolphins in this game, but this is one of those games that I'm pretty much staying away from.
I like the Dolphins big in this game. I'm not a big believer in Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence got a contract based off, and the bottom line is he has underachieved his career so far. I'm willing to give him a pass because of the debacle that took place with Urban Meyer. But when you 3.5 point favorites in their own building. The sun will be out. I'm not sold on anything that Jacksonville is doing on the road this year versus teams that can score. I like them to win this game going away. The running
Mm.
game should be at full strength. You still have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I don't think it should be a game at all, personally. I don't believe that Trevor Lawrence is a winner. Just because you win at the college level, guys, doesn't mean you can come into the NFL and replicate it. And example of boom or bust. When I think about Trevor Lawrence, all I think about is the one win he had when he came back down from 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. But in that game, people don't forget, he threw 4 picks too. He's not great. And this is a make it or break it year for Trevor Lawrence. I'm taking the Fins all day, minus 3.5, and I'm eating steak and lobster.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one. Let's jump over to the New Orleans Saints and Carolina game. This is a barn burner. I mean, you got to throw in some of the bad games at 10 o'clock, and yeah, this is one of them to me. I think the Saints are at home. I think this is a big blowout. We've talked about this all off season long. The win total for the Panthers makes absolutely no sense. I'm not sure where they're going to find these wins, and they're going to start off really brutal. I mean, the Saints, obviously, they play their best football when they are at home, and the Panthers just haven't improved enough this offseason to make this competitive. Now, is Derek Carr is there always a chance that he's going to put up a super stinker? It could happen any week. I've seen it so many years as a Raiders fan, but I doubt it. It's week 1. They're in New Orleans. You know, they didn't get better this offseason necessarily, but they also didn't get worse. These are two teams that are, for the most part, in my opinion, rolling it back. Now, the Panthers, I would say, they add a lot of pieces. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. I know Deontay Johnson was, it looks like a pretty good pickup for them. And I do like his optics for the season. But if Deontay Johnson is your number 1 wide receiver, you're in a really tough spot. I know they're trying to do it by committee a little bit. I like the tight end that they drafted. I like Deontay Johnson overall. Adam Thielen is still a nice number 2, but until I see it, I don't think that's enough to like have them go into New Orleans and suddenly just beat them. And the odds for this game, I just had it pulled up, are the Saints are -4. It's probably a safe bet. In fact, if you probably wanted to buy a full point, if you wanted to put this on a ticket, you're probably safe to do that. I could see this being like a ugly field goal game, but I could also see this being a big blowout too. So this is one of the games I like a little bit more this week, but I'm not putting it on my ticket, but I could see someone buying a point and being pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I can't see a world where the Carolina first game of the season on the road. I know they're better. I know they're bringing Deontay Johnson. I know they're trying to give Bryce Young a little bit more help. But, Jonathan Brooks is on thing here. Jatavion Sanders is a rookie. Miles Sanders is a bum. Chuba Hubbard doesn't inspire anything in anyone. Guys, the Saints they play very, very hard at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in New Orleans. They're going to come out firing. Guys, this is going to be the Taysom Hill game. Dennis Allen loves going to use him all over the field. However you can think about it, he's going to be doing it. They don't love Derek Carr at all. And it's just a matter of time before Atlas hands. But in the interim, they're going to use Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara. And at home, that should be enough to beat the Panthers to the 2. This is one of my best bets of the week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and just make this my best bet. This
Wow,
is
3
my
games
one
in, the
best
best
bet.
bet's already been made.
We Spencer, when we lay our predictions down, the Saints are mine this week, and I will keep track of everything for the season. What's next?
The barn burner of the week, the Minnesota Vikings at the New York Giants. Wow, ugh. This is like a game you don't even want to predict because it's just going to be 2 bad teams just punching each other. I almost like the over in this game for some reason. I just feel like when you have 2 teams that are just not very talented, I could see like Daniel Jones throwing a bunch of picks, throwing a few touchdowns, running the ball a little bit. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is tough. I feel like the Giants are going to win this game. I think they're just a more poised football team. Although we'll see. I don't know. Maybe Sam Darnold has this great game. Ah, man. Yeah, this is one I wish I could stay away from. But right now, the odds I'm sure is probably like the Giants are 1 point favorites. I'm like scrolling down to try to find it really quickly because I am curious. Yeah, the Giants at home are plus
Giants
one
are
and a
getting
half.
points at home.
I'll
One and
just
a
take
half.
that. I
They're
mean,
getting
when you're in the beginning part of the season, I'll take the points at home. Just in general, it seems like a pretty good bet. But golly, this feels like a game that could end a tie. Like that's just how ugly it's gonna be. But I don't know. I think the Giants could definitely get a win here. I think the Vikings are a bad football team. I think their defense got gutted a little bit, and that does not bode well for them because they weren't even a great team defensively last year either. So give me the Giants at home. It just feels like a little bit of a safer pick to have. And I don't know. Sam Darnold could also just put up a giant stinker too.
This is the Sam Darnold route. He's no stranger about playing in this field, but at the same time, we all know that Sam Darnold sucks. He sucks. The worst thing that could have ever happened hurt. He's out for the year because they would have thrown J.J. McCarthy out there. Home dogs pay dividends. Everybody is going to be on the Giants preseason hype and just fly into the Meadowlands and steamroll this team. And I'm here to tell you the Giants are not only covering the 1.5, they're winning the game outright. They are winning the game outright. Brian Dable with the play calls. You are going to see exactly why they drafted Malik Neighbors 6 overall. And Devin Singletary is not as bad as people think. Theo Johnson, quietly, a little sleeper tight end action there. And Big Blue at home with their fans should do enough to cover the 1.5. Guys, Marvel this year. I mean, I know they got Jets. But what else do they have, man? Aaron Jones is a shell of himself. I don't like what's. Who are their wide receivers? Jordan Addison. I mean, the bottom line is the quarterback play on both sides stinks. And when that's the case, I take the home team, especially. I think the Giants can win this game, and I'm taking them with confidence.
Yeah. Let's jump over to some other morning games here. The Steelers and Falcons, another very hard game to call. Although I'm going to go ahead and say I think the Steelers win this contest. Well, although Russell Wilson is hurt a little bit, so I don't know. It's hard for me to see that the Falcons just come out firing on all cylinders. You got a team that has a brand new identity, like in my opinion, like kind of straight out. So many new pieces. You're playing against a very good defense. I know the Falcons are at home, so this is another one of those games that's like it could really go either way. But I could see Kirk Cousins throwing a few picks here, a few little bit of miscommunications. I feel like they're going to struggle very badly against dominant defensive lines just because Kirk Cousins is not going to be able to move around too often. And the Steelers are just a solid football team. I think this is a good matchup for them. Now, would they want to see them in the middle of the season? I think not. But we're talking about week 1 here for a team that is probably still trying to figure it out or get into their rhythm. And you're not going to get into a rhythm against the Steelers. So I'm definitely leaning there. And the odds for this game is Falcons -3.5. This, in my opinion, is a great bet for the Steelers to cover that field goal and, get off on a good foot here. Now, if it's Justin Fields, I'm going to stay away from this game because he could easily lose them the game. But if you have Russell Wilson, he's able to play. He doesn't look, whatever injury he has, it doesn't like stop him from being at his full potential or at least 90%. But I think he can move the ball down the field just enough to win this game for them, or at least cover the 3.5.
I love the Steelers in this game. And
Yeah.
I disagree with you. I feel starting this game is a benefit to the Steelers. Russell Wilson is highly doubtful to play. Russell Wilson's
Mm,
career is over, and Justin Fields is just salivating at the chance to lead a team. Chicago made a mistake by letting him walk and go to a different team. He's surrounded by weapons. Now, they're a slow moving, grinded out type of team half to anybody after not playing together with this group is ridiculous. The Steelers win these kind of games all the time. Najee Harris running the ball. Jalen Warren's gonna hold up. He'll be fine. Kirk Cousins is coming off an ACL tear and he's 36 years old, and that offensive line is not good. Look, be for disaster for Atlanta. I'm not even so sure that they're going to win the game, and you're going to give me 3.5 points. I love the Steelers here. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. This is how they win games 14-10, 10-7. I could see Watt being all over Kirk Cousins in this game. Look, this defense comes to play, especially on the road versus teams that are supposed to blow them out. Don't get gassed by the Atlanta Falcons. Just because you bring these pieces in, this is an extension of the preseason. And right now, I think it's a coin flip. If you're going to give me 3.5 points, I'm going to take it all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Let's jump over to the Bills and Cardinals. This is a game where I think the Bills are going to come out firing on all cylinders. There's been a lot of narrative around them in the offseason that they got rid of all their players. I'm leaning more towards these guys were just names. The best ability is availability. And of all those guys who they, dropped, a lot of them didn't play full seasons or haven't over the course of 3 years. I feel like they've kind of moved on as an organization, kind of without them. So now I do think they're going to hit a ceiling like really hard, like midway through. But at home against the Cardinals, now I'm probably a little higher on the Cardinals than most people are this season. I kind of like their over win total, but this is not a great spot for them to kind of compete. Now they were a very competitive team last year, and the odds for this game are it is the Bills
Cards
minus
plus
six and a
six and
half.
a
So
half.
it's kind of a lot. I mean, this is probably a game I would throw on a teaser. You could just get a half point for the Bills. All they have to do is win the game. But at the end of the day, I could also see the Bills just really looking good, making a statement when this season. Everyone's going to say, oh, this whole committee thing for Josh Allen is really working. Because, yes, they did lose, two of their top weapons, but Gabe Davis was so boomer bust last year. I feel like they're going to be a little bit more consistent across the board. Curtis Samuel, Shakir. I can't try saying his name 7 times fast. And then they also have a rookie. So with some great tight ends, 2 great tight ends, I think it's going to bode very well for them. So he's not going to have to force the ball down to like a couple of players in the entire game. Dalton Kincaid could have a huge one in this. I think he's going to be a great tight end this year. I loved him coming out of the draft. I like Buffalo here. That their fans are going to be absolutely feral coming into this one, and I think that's just not going to bode well for the Cardinals.
I'm going to take the Cardinals plus 6.5. I think the Bills are fraudulent. I've seen plenty of teams go there over the last couple of years and not only cover. This kind of reminds me of when the Cards went to the Eagles last year and they were 12.5 point dogs and they won the game outright. I mean, Josh Allen is working with a whole and this is almost just an extension of preseason. Curtis Samuel's new. You draft a new wide receiver. Khalil Shakir is now moving into a role that he's new. Ray Davis is just drafted. I mean, James Cook doesn't score touchdowns. If Josh Allen is not a Terminator, I could see the clock with James Conner here. And this is going to literally be MHJ's first game in the NFL. I mean, the hype is real. And I think you're going to see it here to the staying in the game. I don't know if they'll win it, but 6.5 for opening day is a lot when you have not seen these teams play well together yet. I know the Bills' propensity to blow teams out at home is always a thing, but when have they done it in the last couple seasons? Denver went there last year, and Russell Wilson. The Giants got jobbed out of a loss there in Orchard Park. I think the aura around Bills Mafia is more than the aura around the team. And so I'm willing to take some points here. You're going to get paid out better than if you take the Bills. And if anything, you have to buy that buy a point just to keep trust Josh Allen in big spots, man. I just don't. Like we saw Lamar throw the ball and like it was 5 feet away from a wide open Zay Flowers. You miss throws like this too in big spots. That's the difference between these quarterbacks and quarterbacks like Mahomes. These guys miss open receivers. and all pass, and there's a backdoor cover. I'm going to take the Cards. So far, we've agreed on everything. I'm going to go the other way. Give me those 6.5 points.
Let's go over to one of my favorite games of the entire season. It is in week 1. It's the Tennessee Titans versus the Chicago Bears. Wow, this is going to be a great
Mm-hmm.
game, in my opinion. There's so much hype. I mean, you're talking about a Titans team who's plus 3.5. That is just they're gonna go out there and compete. It's a tough game to call. It's just one I'm gonna have. It's just one I have circled on the schedule, just because obviously it's pretty obvious for the Bears. They went all in on the offseason. They got what many people consider a generational quarterback. Made some great throws in the preseason. They're at home. People think they're going to make the playoffs. And then you also have the Titans, man, who just made some really great moves all over on offense and defense. I think this is a game where everyone thinks that, the Titans are just going to lay down. I don't see that happening. This is a tough game to call. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say the Tennessee Titans cover the 3.5. I don't know if they win it, but I think the hook is going to end up really coming into play here. I could see L'Jarius Sneed picking off Caleb Williams because he scrambles too hard. Yeah, I could also see, the Bears just coming out and really like showing up in week 1, and everyone says they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But I think the Titans are a much better football team than a lot of people give them credit for. The Titans they're not known for having in my opinion, the greatest fan base. Like everyone says the Tennessee Titans have no fans, but I think that they are ready for a competitive contest, and I think they could sneak a win in here, man. Everyone is so high on the Bears. I'm not convinced that the Bears' offensive line is going to hold up, and you got one of the best defensive linemen for the Tennessee Titans. I could just see like a little strip sack fumble here, causing a cover, something like that. I just don't think this game is going to go how everyone thinks it is.
I disagree. I think the Bears roll. I think it's a new day in Chicago, and after flip flopping all off season about Caleb, I think it was the right decision to bring Caleb in. Roma Dunze is good. I think Keenan Allen's foot will hold up. Is better than he gets credit for. Cole Kmet's good, and the defense is paid up and they're ready. You know what I mean? Sweat. They paid Jalen Johnson. It kind of reminds me of 2 or 3 years into Chicago opening day in the rain with Trey Lance, and they were supposed to get destroyed, and they picked apart the San Francisco 49ers with a team that's not half as good as. I think the Bears are on their way because they have a soft schedule. This year, it reminds me of Andy Reid's first year in Kansas City when they went 9 and very similar happening to the Bears here. Bears fans are hyped. The city is galvanized. Their schedule is soft. Caleb is here, nail polish and dresses. It doesn't matter. They think he gives it to them here. And I think that when they're at home minus 3.5 versus a sophomore quarterback like Will Levis, the defense will do enough to keep them at bay. Tennessee will make plays. I just think the Bears are going to come out here and let everybody know we're here, man. We're back. And I feel like half, I could see this game being won by 10 points, honestly. I really can. I mean, I know Snead is now in the secondary for Tennessee. Dude, you're never going to get that again. That was a contract year with McDuffie on the other side of the field. Their offensive line in Tennessee is still growing. Tony Pollard is a new piece, a new piece. DeAndre Hopkins is getting a little older. I mean, I could easily see the Bears stomping this team, honestly. I could see 31-10. The Bears defense, in my estimation, is a lot better than people think. It's better than people think, man. I'm not saying they're the 85 Bears, but they got players. They got players. They've won all their preseason games. They're feeling good. You know what I mean? There's something that happens when you have to start to, create a culture of winning with. They're feeling good. They're all on the same page. Eberflus knows that this is a year that he has to produce because they've given him all the ingredients to win. And I see that in game 1 at home. Give me the Bears minus the 3.5, and I'm not sweating that at all.
Yeah, I'm going out on a limb on that one. That's my bold prediction of the week. Let's jump over to the Bengals and Patriots. I think this is a 9.5 point spread, like something insane like that. Oh, 7.5.
7.5.
I'm going to double down on my prediction that the Patriots, I guess triple down, that the Patriots are the worst team in football this year. Not convinced that their head coach is prepared to be the head coach. This is not a good roster up and down. Now, the Bengals are having a lot of problems at receiver. T. Higgins pops up with an injury. Jamar Chase is holding out, but this is a way better football team. This whole doubling down on Jacoby Brissett thing just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Drake May did way more than enough in the offseason, in my opinion, to prove that he is the starter and he should be in week one. I don't think they did nearly enough offensively to do anything. I think they have the worst wide receiver group in the entire NFL. The running backs are okay, but we're talking about a passing league here. And you're assuming that a rookie head coach who no one was really high on outside of the organization is just going to come in and compete at, in an away game in Cincinnati. This should be a huge blowout for the Bengals, who need to make a statement to start the year. This is a team that has been riding the high of going to the Super Bowl for years now and has done nothing to double down on it. They haven't seen that team in years that I'm like, oh, I remember that team. That's why they went to the Super Bowl. And, Joe Burrow has a little bit of pressure on him this year. I don't care what anyone says. The guy hasn't stayed healthy for a long time now. They got to come out and blow a terrible team out. And I think they will.
Yeah, and it's hard to disagree with anything. What I like about me is that I'm always willing to try to find the diamond in the rough and go the other way, because this is a game that literally, when you're walking to the sports book, people, 99% of those people are going to bet Cincinnati minus 7.5. But I'm here to tell you, man, there's a dark cloud over Cincinnati, and there has all, if we're being honest, there has been. Joe Burrow is living off that Super Bowl appearance. He hasn't been healthy. I'm not so sure that he's even 100%. T. Higgins is doubtful to play already in a walk year when a guy needs to be on the field. What does that tell you? So he's not going to play. Jamar Chase might try seeing everybody else get paid but him and say, you know what? You don't want to pay me. I'm going to sit out, because they believe that they could probably beat the Patriots without me. So fine. I'll guys pay Jamar Chase. The Bengals are cheap. The Bengals are cheap. Zach Moss and Chase Brown, to me, that's a downturn when you consider guys are good. Okay, they're good, but Zach Moss is new to Cincinnati. Who's their wide receiver? Mike Gesicki sucks. He's been on a million different teams. Is their defense any disgruntled? I mean, it's like a storm cloud, and you want to believe in the Bengals, but they're just one of these teams, like the Ravens, like get better. They did not get better. Conversely, the Patriots defense is always good. Now I know it's a rookie head coach, and 7.5. You would think that they should have a problem beating up on Jacoby Brissett and the New England Patriots with a rookie head coach. But I'm here to tell you, these are the types of games in the NFL that, because everybody is going to bet Cincinnati minus the 7.5. So you're going to the sports book today, and then tomorrow morning, right before game time, Jamar Chase is now T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are out. Dude, at that point, to me, it's almost a pick 'em. And I know they have bums, and I know Jacoby, but Ramondre Stevenson is fairly serviceable. Christian Gonzalez is back and healthy. I know they got rid of Matthew Judon, but I smell a rat. I smell a rat, man. Give me those seven. Believe in the Cincinnati Bengals at all until I see it. Everyone's talking about the Bengals like they're the team that beat Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. Guys, that was like 10 years. Stop. Until I see it, I'm going against the Bengals, and I'm doing it with confidence. Give me those 7.5 points.
All right, let's keep this going. Going to the afternoon games now. It's the Raiders and Chargers, which they're in LA, but it's pretty much a home game for the Raiders here to start things out. This is one of my. It's so hard because I'm wearing a Raiders hat right now. It's hard not to feel like a homer, but I just feel like the Raiders are a better football team than the Chargers on almost every conceivable way. And the fact that the Raiders are getting points in what it can essentially be called a home game, there's going to be so many Raiders fans there for this. I love the Raiders in this game. I think, other than quarterback position, obviously, everywhere else, I think the Raiders have an edge on. Their defensive line is a monstrous. Malcolm Kuntz did pop up with a non-contact knee injury, so waiting on bated breath on that because I think he was going to have a huge season. I'm hoping it's not an ACL. I guess we'll find out. Maybe it's a meniscus or something. Who knows? But I think that the Raiders win this football game. I don't understand why the Chargers have a win total around 9 when they got significantly worse. I don't understand how the Raiders have a lower win total than last year at 5.5 when they got better. I think Gardner Minshew is going to have a pretty good game. He doesn't have to be great. The Raiders are going to play some great defense in this game. Quentin Johnson, Lad McConkey, you got Gus Edwards in the backfield. None of these guys are number ones, first of all, and now suddenly they're going to be depended upon to dominate a really good Raiders defense. I just don't see it. I think Gardner Minshew could have a pretty good game. They're going to run the ball 30,000 times, a couple of play actions here and there. This is what Gardner Minshew can do. They're not depending on him to go up there, throw the ball 40 times and throw 3 touchdowns. They need him to throw 1.5 touchdowns per week. And in this game, this is so manageable for them. I know the Chargers might be a little bit sore because they blew them out by 63 points last year, but that's old news. That's Eason. It wasn't even Justin Herbert. I could see a few picks coming from him. This is going to be a struggling football team. I think people's opinions on the Chargers are going to change so quick when they realize the reality of the situation. Good coaching can only take you so far when your roster isn't just not very good.
I can't agree more. I mean, this is the one game that you and I have been talking about for weeks now, even way back when during the draft. Cannot see a world where the Raiders lose this game. And you're giving me points, and for a number of reasons. Number one, the Chargers are horrible, man. You're asking Harbaugh to cook you a can of spam. They're terrible. I mean, Josh Palmer's your number one. Quentin Johnson can't catch a cold. Gus Edwards, okay. J.K. Dobbins is always hurt, rookie. I mean, Hayden Hurst is your starting tight end. I mean, this is like a reclamation project. This is basically just trying to trot a team out there. And, this is my first year, guys. It's going to take 3 years to get this right. We had to get some people off the books. We got Mike Williams gone. We got Keenan Allen gone. We're just competitive. Justin Herbert with the plantar fasciitis. They're saying he's healthy, walking boot one day, no boot the next day. Dude, the Raiders D line is going to eat this team alive. Welcome to the NFL. Meet Max Crosby. That's what this game is going to be. And now you have Christian Wilkins, Malcolm Kuntz, even Spillane. I'm telling you, the underrated. The Raiders, I'm going to go out and say something right now, and it might sound crazy. I think the Raiders have a top 12 defense this year. Top 12. And I think they're going to go after Justin Herbert. How they're doing is going to be ugly. How they're going to win is going to be ugly because, the mustache is no top 50 quarterback. I mean, he's not that great. He's a glorified backup. Him backups in the league. He just happened to beat out AOC, who stinks. But they have Zamir White, who's a battering ram. If they could ever just give this guy a little catch out of the backfield, he's going to have a great, great season. They're going to run the ball. Max Crosby's going to be all over the field. This should be a resounding W for the Raiders in their first game, and one that they do in. The cherry on top is that these guys trolled Davante Adams. I don't know if you remember that. They trolled
Yeah.
him online. And Davante Adams came. I saw the interview. He's like, I eat these guys for breakfast. And that's exactly what he's going to do. I mean, their secondary is garbage. Their defense is garbage. Joey Bosa is the most overrated
Yeah.
history of the NFL. The guy's the best ability is availability, and he is always hurt. Even when he's on the field, he's hurt. The guy's made of glass. He's only good because Khalil Mack's 1,000 years old. This should be a resounding win for the Raiders. And if I didn't take the Saints, this would have been my best bet. I absolutely love them. And this is team. This is the perfect game to throw in a teaser. You put the Raiders in a teaser, it's steak, lobster, and Moet Chandon.
Let's jump over to another game featuring an AFC West team. That is the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. Dude, man, I'm not high in the Broncos either this season. I'm not going to let the preseason be the thing that convinces me that the Broncos are suddenly, you know, 20 times better of a football team. I think the Seahawks are at home. I think they have one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. I think there's going to be a lot of people on the Broncos in this game. The odds on this Broncos contest is the
Minus
Broncos are
six.
+6. Yeah, that's a lot of points, but at the same time, I don't know. I have to see it on the field. I have to see Bo Nix just come out there. He's the captain. They're just going to ride through. They're going to, blow past their win total. I have to see it first because this was a team that was awful last year. And let's be honest, okay, Russell Wilson did not play that bad. He got benched when he was playing some pretty decent football. He was averaging like 2
Yes.
touchdowns a game last year. And now suddenly Bo Nix, because he had 2 good preseason games, is going to go into Seattle and just, be a gunslinger. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is that good. And it was just a preview of what you're going to see all season. But until then, I'm going to take Seattle in this game. I'm going to take them the confidence. I think this is a pretty good football team. I think they're very competitive. I think they had a great draft. I think they've had a couple of good drafts in a row that have really set their team up. Pat Surtain got a bunch of money, but who else is really filling out that Broncos defense? No names jump off the page for me. Give me Seattle in this game. I think they can easily win by a touchdown.
I think they could easily win by a touchdown as well. I'm all over the Seahawks here. The 12th man is not the place you want to throw a rookie quarterback out there, doing what he thinks he's supposed to do. But I'm just one of those people that until I see it, I can't believe in Bo Nix. I've seen him play live. He's a great
Yeah.
dude. Oregon college is not the NFL, man. And, Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, I mean, these are not guys you want to face for your first professional start. And preseason is nothing, guys. You're lining up with the real beasts here now. And I think this is a spot that he's going to walk into and get absolutely murdered. They have a great offense. DK Metcalf, too. Sertan got paid. He's going to be on him. But DK Metcalf will go against anybody, man. Marshawn Latimer, he has amazing, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And I think that with Ryan Grubb's new air raid style offense brought to Seattle, you're going to see guys like JSN go off. Even KW2 and Nick Charbonnet are more than serviceable. They can control the line of scrimmage, play good defense. The Broncos are garbage for a reason. I mean, they're not good, and I don't think they're going to be good. I mean, Javonte Williams coming off the ACL, they're expecting him to have a bounce back season, but I'm just not in love with him at all. It just doesn't galvanize me. Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime is a rookie. You know what I mean? It's like Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and just a bunch of guys blowing you up for any reason ever outside of like a strip sack or a scoop and score, something fluky happening in this game. I see Seattle winning this game by 10 points. I know Bone, but I just don't think they can score to keep up enough with a home field advantage like the 12th man.
I agree. Let's jump over to another ugly game, in my opinion. I'm not high on either of these teams this year. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go Dallas here. I really I think Deshaun Watson is terrible. Like, I think he's legitimately a bad quarterback. And I think the Cowboys defense, didn't really change in the offseason. I've talked about this all offseason long. I try not to be a slave to the offseason moves. They didn't do anything. Like, literally didn't do anything the entire offseason of note. But that doesn't mean that this defense wasn't really good last year. Now, I know they lost, I think, Bland to a season-ending injury, so that was kind of rough for them. But this guy, that was a real big boomer bust kind of guy. Like, he did get all those pick sixes last year, but he was also like garbage. Like, when it came to actually like being a covered corner, like he got burned so much last year. And I think Deshaun Watson is good for a few picks in this game. I literally have not seen him do it in a Browns uniform where he just looked like he was for the Texans. I think this guy ruined his career. good for that. Okay, like he sucks, and I think that's a good thing. This is a guy who did some terrible things. He got a bunch of money, and he has done some just circus clown level stuff, like bad interceptions last year, bad fumbles. This is a Dallas team that is very like good when it comes to turnovers. That's going to kill them. I think the Browns are going to be so much worse than people think this year. I know they're at home, but not every home team in week one is going to just go in and win games. That's not how the NFL works. So if you're going to pick a game on the schedule where where an away team comes in and even like inserts their will a little bit, I think it could be the Dallas Cowboys and the Browns.
Yeah, I disagree. I like the Browns and the dog pound minus the 2 point wins you money. I'm no believer in anything that the Dallas Cowboys are doing. They haven't upgraded at their running game. Tony Pollard is your week one running back versus one of the best defenses in the league. Myles Garrett's going to have a day. Now, I do agree with Deshaun Watson. Like the next time he does it will be the first time I could be it. Njoku, Amari Cooper, they have weapons, man. They have enough. Jerome Ford proved to be more than serviceable in the absence of an injured Nick Chubb. Reminds me of good teams going to the dog pound, they get beat. I mean, the Niners went there last year and lost that game to a third string quarterback. The dog pound's a real thing, like Seattle. These are real home field advantages here. And Dak Prescott has got 1 foot out the door. They don't want to pay him. They just paid Lamb. Guys who play to get paid play differently than guys who got paid. Even if they double Lamb, I mean, at that point, you're banking on Jake Ferguson and 1,000-year-old Brandon Cook who are scoring you points. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I feel like Dallas is just empty stats, and now Bland is hurt. I just don't see it, man. The Dallas Cowboys, a fan base, hold on to Super Bowl wins like the Dallas Cowboys. Like you guys have not been good in a long, and I will never back off this. As long as Jerry Jones has keys to the car, this team ain't winning anything. Now they'll beat up on the Commanders and the Giants in Dallas, in Jerry's world, but do not discount how hard it is to go to Cleveland and win. The Browns are a real threat in that division. Watson stinks, but I think they'll do enough to cover the 2.5 here. Game-winning field goal wins you money.
Let's jump over to a pretty good game, actually. I love watching the Buccaneers at home. Something about them when they're at home. They were like soldiers for us last year. Just it was like a gimme, for them to cover at home. We'll see if that trend continues. I tend to think that they may have peaked a little bit last year or like gone up, way above what they should have. But this is a Washington team that is going to be fun to watch all year long. But does that mean that they're going to suddenly be a good team? I don't think so. I like the over in this game. I don't know what it is necessarily, but I do like whatever it is. I feel like this is going to be a very high scoring game, which is great for my fantasy. It is the Buccaneers -3.5. I'll take that. I do think that I think the Commanders could put up some points, but so can the Buccaneers at home, and I think they'll do enough. I think I could see Jaden Daniels throwing an interception that helps them cover in this game. Maybe they try to go down the field and, he throws a pretty bad pick. The Buccaneers return it. They end up getting a field goal and that puts them over, something stupid like that. But this is a very reliable team at home. They're going to be pretty pumped up. They made the playoffs last year. This is a game they should win. I would seriously be shocked if Washington just comes in and starts winning football games this year. I could just see high scoring. They score maybe 27 points a game, but their defense gives up, nearly as much, like maybe 30. I really, if you go down the list of their defense, it's not a lot of names that would be recognizable to the average fan. And I think you're going to see that this year. They gave up so many points last year, and I don't think they did enough to address it.
I agree, man. Washington Commanders are in trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine a world where Jaden Daniels a team like this and wins his first game. I just don't see it, man. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are valuable soldiers. They covered for us last year more than anyone.
Yeah.
played. They at home they beat an Eagles team that was, Eagles are a pretty good team, man. I know they were struggling, but like Mayfield is better than people think. Mike Evans is paid up. Rashad White, Bucky Irving is now there. Chris Godwin's moved back to the slot. That is one of the most underrated moves for a wide receiver. He's going to now produce at a much, much higher level. Todd Bowles is a more than a serviceable coach. They're not far removed from winning a Super Bowl, so the fans are still kind of galvanized and in it. Outside of Terry McLaurin, what do the Commanders have? I mean, the Commanders might be the worst franchise in all of professional sports. I mean, Dan Snyder ruined that. I mean, it's a good landing spot for Jaden Daniels, but you get rid of Jahan Dotson for nothing in the same division, no less. You got a bunch of guys like whose names I can't even pronounce. I mean, Diami Brown. I mean, Zacchaeus. Like, if anything happens to Terry McLaurin, they're done. Fall from grace needs to be studied. Brian Robinson Jr. is mid at best. I mean, what do they have? This is a team that should get blown absolutely unequivocally, and you can throw them on a teaser here too with the Raiders, and I think it's milk and cookies before bedtime here. Bucks minus 3.5. The Commanders' defense is horrendous.
It's so bad. All right, let's jump over to the last two games of the season. It is the Rams and Lions. This is the Sunday night game. It's a great one. I'm gonna say something I know I shouldn't. I know the Lions should just come in and have a great start to the season, but it is so tempting to take a Rams team that got jobs, I think, out of that playoff game, and I think they're a lot better team than they were last year. And when you combine that with the Lions team that has super high expectations, you got a whole story about Dan Campbell's Applebee's commercial. When I think about those kinds of things, I really start to think that the Rams could just shock the world. This is the Lions. It's still the Lions. They blew the biggest lead ever, I think, in an NFC championship team last year. They have not gotten rid of the entire stink of the franchise just quite yet, in my opinion. I got to see it this year. Now, I think the Lions are going to be a great team this year. I think they could go to the Super Bowl, but that doesn't mean that in week one they can't have a big disappointment. And especially when you consider the odds here, you got plus 4.5 for the Rams. Are they going to win the game? It's possible, in my opinion. So I think that really leans towards the plus 4.5. And I could easily see them losing by just a field goal. They're like almost predicting that this is going to be a borderline blowout. And I'm not so convinced that's going to happen. Give me the Rams plus 4.5. I'm going to go out on a limb on this one.
Spencer, I knew I liked you. Rams got jobbed last year. I've been saying it all off. Nakua was mugged when they were going in for that winning score, and the refs looked the other way. Why? Because they want the storyline of the went to San Francisco, and you got what you asked for. Dan Campbell blowing games, which was absolutely egregious. Now, Matthew Stafford gets another crack to go back in the team that went in there last year. Cooper Kupp is fully healthy. Puka should be okay. I'm not too worried about the knee. But what'll do it for me here is their draft picks, man. They got their defense first. You got some youth on that line now. I have still and got questions about Jameson Williams. I mean, Amon Ra's gonna get his, but are you gonna be able to do enough with just those two? I like the run game, but Jahmyr Gibbs is still not 100%. Stafford has got moxie, man. He to me is still the toughest quarterback in the league, or one of. He's top three, and he's got screwed last year. You're gonna give me 4.5 points indoors? Kyron Williams is a stud. You bring in Blake Corum now to spell him? I'm sorry, man. I think 4.5 is disrespectful. To me, this should just because they're home. Everyone wants to instantly kind of just write Detroit into the Super Bowl after what happened last year. Guys, you got to go earn it. You think they'll be in the NFC Championship game? Yes, I do. I'm willing to die on that hill, but this ain't going to be an easy one at all, man. Not for a second. If you think and lay down, you are mistaken. Sean McVay is a genius. He is one of the best offensive play creators in the entire league. And now the defense got better last year. You may not want to think it happened. Go back and look. Puka got mugged, and they turned the other way, which is complete BS. Redemption will be mine. Give me the 4.5 right here.
I like it too. Last game of the week 1, it is the Jets and 49ers. This is a tough one to call. Obviously, two very good teams. That's why they made it the Monday night game. I just like the 49ers in this game because I want to see the Jets do it first. I think there is a world where the Jets have a really great season, but it's also the New York Jets. And there have been plenty of times in my lifetime where people really like the New York Jets and then it just doesn't work out for them. So this is a great 49ers team who shored up every problem. And the thing about Brandon Ayuk and the Trent Williams situation is I feel like they handled it very professionally. This is a great organization, no doubt about it. And there wasn't a lot of animosity, like Jamar Chase, like in this Bengals situation, it feels like there's a lot of bad will there. It never felt like there was too much bad will by either sides in the Ayuk or Trent Williams situation. I just felt like they were trying to negotiating the dollar amount, and that just seems like a normal part of business. So when I think about it like that, these two guys are going to be so ready to go for the season. They've been doing this for years now. This is a very team. This is a team that is very together. I think they added a lot of really good depth pieces too. I mean, they're going to be one of the top teams in the league again this year. And I could see a lot of people putting money on the Jets. A lot of people may think that the 49ers are on the downturn this year. And maybe they won't be as good as they were last year, but in week 1, I think they're going to come out ready. I think anytime you lose the Super Bowl and you feel like you should have won it and you're coming out in week 1, it just feels like you're going to have a lot of energy that's going to come out during that time. And I could see them having a pretty big game. I think the line is really close on this one. It's minus 4.5. That seems like a lot. And again, it feels like a lot of people are going to be on the Jets, but I feel like I'm going to go opposite. I could see the 49ers really taking control of this football game.
J-A-K-S. Give me those 4.5 points. You're bugging.
Yeah, I
Handling
knew you'd say that.
negotiations as well. What negotiations were you watching? Brandon, you held this freaking franchise hot on Bell. You get sick and tired of hearing about it already. You pay that guy $30 million, that guy's not worth $25 million. Ridiculous. Trent Williams, you pay that guy. That guy's almost $4 Duffy, and practice squad player Mike Pennell was tossing that guy all over the field in the Super Bowl. Stop it. Kittle another year older. Ricky Pearsall just gets shot. Stop it. 100%. Stop it. Aaron Rodgers always wants to stick it to the 49ers. He always wanted to stick it to them. Wanted to play for them. They passed him up. Stop it. The Jets are going to be better than people. I'm sorry. The Jets got a good defense. I'm not sold on Brock Purdy. I'm not one of these people that's sold on Brock Purdy. Dude, the last great to San Francisco and played them ate him alive when the Ravens played them. I see something similar happening here. That defense is not as good as people think, and that's secondary. I think that the 49ers take a humongous step back this year. Humongous. And I'm telling you right now, Aaron Rodgers is going to be pissing vinegar. He wants this game won more than any other win he's had since he played in the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, take the Jets here with confidence. Breece Hall is going to go crazy. Garrett Wilson is rated. He is going to have a nice game. Ty Conklin, a guy like Tyler Conklin, is going to make a difference for the Jets this year. They just never had anyone to get them the ball in the middle of the field. The Jets are better than people think, man. Don't let Braylon Allen spell Breece Hall either. He's a monster as a rookie. The Jets are going to be better than people think. The special 4.5 is too much here, man. It's too much. I know this team went to the Super Bowl. I know the mystique of the 49ers. I get all that, man. But that was last from year to year. And I love the Jets in this spot. I know they're traveling across the country, but this is prime time television, man. You don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to wipe the stench off bad things have been for him? He's going to play this game like it's his last game on earth. Give me 4.5 points. I think that a field goal will win this game either way. This game outright, quite frankly, I do not believe in Brock Purdy anywhere. I just don't, man. And they're going to pay him a boatload of money, too. Folks, I'm here to tell you the San Francisco 49ers are going to be with no rings down the stretch that they literally could be the type of team that wins 4 or 5 games a year, and they're paying everyone. And they're paying everyone. They're won the Super Bowl and blow it after being up by 10 for the second straight time. People think they're just going to instantly go back. No, the NFC got better. The Lions are good. The Eagles are teams now. And it's not going to be that easy versus a team that can control both sides of the ball on offense and defense. Give me Robert Saleh. Give me the Jets all day. And if you're feeling scared about it, buy a point. I'm telling you right now, Brock Purdy is not who you think he is, folks. Mr. Irrelevant was Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. Parting
All right,
shots.
I'm gonna jump over to my best bets. My favorite thing to do, my specialty, whatever you want to call it, is teasers. I like 3-team teasers. So every week I will showcase. This is the personal bet that I make. So I will reveal what my teasers are each week. This is a 6-point teaser. We already talked about the Raiders. I love them +9. If that for a teaser, obviously, I feel like that's just crazy. I don't see a world where they lose by 10 points in that game. I think they win. The Houston Texans, I get +4. I just think that is just an unbelievable value for a team that I think could blow the Colts out of the water. And then you just buy down the Bengals. Now I know you're not. You could see something crazy going on. And yeah, maybe this T Higgins thing makes me a little nervous, but at the end of the day, like I said, I think the Patriots are going to be the worst team in all of football. So if I can get 3 points against that, I feel pretty confident. So you win about 2.4 times your bet on these teasers. And I don't like to go for the home run picks where it's like 700, picks. And then, one goes wrong, you never win them. I like 3-team teasers. I do this in basketball too. I just feel like you get a really good price for the tease amount.
Yeah, my 3-team teaser for the week from World of Matchups is going to be 3-point teaser for the Rams. You're going to give the Bucks, they got to just win, basically. They're minus a half point, and Raiders just to win. I can't see a world where all three of these teams screw things going away. My parting shots, let's talk a little bit about what's happening here in Kansas City. That game was electric. The Chiefs played, in my mind, a B minus. What I've been saying about Lamar Jackson over the last couple of years is just continued to come to fruition. The guy misses wide open throws. The Chiefs played not well enough to win this game. They had no answer for Isaiah Likely whatsoever. It was a sloppy, poorly played game. The defense was gassed, and everything was right there for Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, to win it, and they couldn't get it done. And I think Lamar is just going to continue to make me look good and just be Mr. Empty Stats. He could win another MVP, but when it matters most, they are going to choke. Even Brazil, which I got to put this out there right now. I've been saying this for years. I'm going to triple down on it. Stop taking these games overseas, please. Stop. You have to stop. This is stop trying to grow the game. Stop. The field was an absolute nightmare. Jordan Love's now injured. Packers are in big trouble if Jordan Love is out, and I think he's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. Running behind a real offensive line shows you how good he is. And I think the Eagles are on their way. It's going to take them a while to really get that secondary together. But I think the championship game, if Nick Sirianni can stay out of his own way, I think the Eagles they have a good shot to go back to the Super Bowl. At worst, I see them going to Detroit for the NFC championship game. I back. So that's kind of my take from the first 2 games. But all in all, it's been fantastic football. I'm heading back to Las Vegas today to watch the rest of these games at home tomorrow. But I'm here. If the Chiefs ever get their act together, and it's only game one. Once Hollywood comes back, I mean, you saw what Xavier Worthy can do, man. He ran right by everybody. I mean, who are you gonna guard? They didn't even use Kelsey at all. Kelsey caught 3 balls, and they still won by. The Chiefs played a B- game and won the game. Folks, it's going to be a long year for you guys if you keep betting against the Chiefs. Your parting shots.
Yeah, exciting week. I mean, it just feels so good to have football back. Feels good to get those competitive juices flowing. Yeah, Xavier Worthy, I guess he's really the standout, I guess, from the first 2 games of the season. He only had 2 touches and those 2 touchdowns. So I doubt that's going to be the last that we see of him this entire year. Although I could see some boomer bust weeks, but I kind of felt boomer bust this week, and he still got 2 touchdowns. So kind of unbelievable to see the kid play. Yeah, I mean, they offense had a spot for a guy who's fast as hell in it, and yeah, they just kind of filled right back in.
Looking good, man. I'm pretty excited about it. World of Matches bringing the heat, guys. This is the handicapping show that you want to watch week in and week out. Spencer and I will be bringing the heat. Shows post every Saturday, so it gives you time to listen, watch, get your shekels right, and put it in via electronic websites or go into the sports book. You guys enjoy week 1. We appreciate the love. Like, subscribe, and share the videos, and we'll see you guys next week. Spencer, enjoy the games, bro. I'll text you.
Yeah. All right, see you guys.
All right. We're out.